Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Krista here to do the weekly reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, Virgo, there's a link in the description box where you can find your whole birth chart. And that way, if you want additional messages for the week, you can always look at your Moon and Rising sign as well as your Sun sign reading today. So this is for Virgo for the week of August 8th to August 15th. I'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck for a 5-card spread today. And then as always, we'll be drawing additional message cards from the Medicine Card Tarot and the Healing with the Angels Tarot. So this is a general reading. I encourage you to apply anything you see here that you find helpful in healing to your current situation. And if there's information that's new to you here, just consider that opportunities that you have available to you. And certainly if you're aware of what's going on here in the cards, just consider that confirmation that you're headed in the right direction. So Virgo, what does your sign need to know? We're just looking for 4 more jumper cards. All right, whenever I get a chunk like that, I keep going. I like to take no more than 2 jumpers at a time. So let's see if we can get 3 more individual jumpers here. And then I'll get sort of a bird's eye view of what's going on in the reading. We'll look at which card is in each position, and then we'll get them up to the camera so you can see up close what's going on in the cards one by one. All right, 2 more jumper cards here. All right, so a couple more shuffles, and if we don't get a jumper, I'm just going to pull the last 2 from the center of the deck for you. All right. All right, Virgo. Interesting. I haven't seen anything sort of heavy in your reading for the past little while. You've been super on top of things, coming out of the dark, if you will. Something seems to be daunting you a little bit in terms of feeling orphaned or some dark feelings, something that feels like it should have been, quote unquote. This is a a personal, this would be a judgment call around it, something that should not be in your life anymore. A feeling of being orphaned or neglected. But this is a feeling and it is the past. So there is an opportunity here to get rid of this feeling. And then there could be something, these are definitely coexisting here. We have the never-ending story and the orphaned. Never-ending story is probable outcome, and then the orphaned is in what you may be unaware of. Something needs to be addressed significantly here. Something very deep, unique to you, perhaps only you know about, and only you can get to the root of. You can talk to other people about it, certainly, like therapy or counseling and that type of thing, but you're the only person from what I'm seeing here who is capable of even understanding what you would go to talk to someone about. So something needs to be addressed here so that you don't keep going in a negative spiral situation, or this one thing doesn't go in a negative spiral situation. Again, this is about one occurrence or a situation through the week for you. I don't consider this part of your whole week. It's just something in particular, that you can intuit how this is to be applied in a general sense. So let's and so we have the why, and then around the never-ending story. Interesting. Something is beautiful happening for you. You are creating something beautiful for yourself. You think that something is available to you. I think this week is just going to be difficult around believing it. We're looking at motivations here, why you'd be interested in something, why you would be going in this direction, why you might even be going backwards this week. We do have, I believe, I think it's at the end of the month. We have a full moon in Virgo. It could be what's it called? Not a solstice. It's when an eclipse. Okay. So there is an eclipse at the end of the month in Virgo, and this is a very high energy full moon. It could be that there are some, and this is very natural for eclipse full moons, depending on the sign they're in. It being in your sign in the next, it's only a couple of weeks away, so there could be like burgeoning energy around that already. It could be bringing up sore spots or difficult spots in our psyche, in humanity, psyche in general, but because this is about the moon is in Virgo and this is your reading Virgo, that it could feel even more powerful for you. So this is what I'm seeing here with regard to the eclipse full moon at the end of the month, is that it's already sort of bringing stuff up. Something needs to be addressed in order to be buried finally, put to rest finally. And the only way, in my view, that we can do that is if we release it with love. But there's something that is giving you, I'm going to say nightmares, but it doesn't have to. It's the way it's being assessed. It's the way it's being paid attention to. So let's look at each card in its individual position together, and then I'll show you up close what everything, what all the cards mean. And certainly if there's imagery or colors that are appealing to you or speak to you intuitively, please take whatever you can from that. So we're looking at chop wood in the central position. This represents you this week. Virgo, chop wood is just about getting rid of something. You need to take action here, getting rid of something that isn't going to work for you, and putting things in order for you. Get to work here, but about this issue. There is a gray cloud, right? There is something that you need to work out of your life and create room to bring something new and beautiful in. But that space needs to be made vacant in the first place. I do think it's old. It's an old hurt. It might even be something that, heaven forbid, you're not even aware of right now, or don't feel capable of getting close to right now because it is deep. Um, but I think little steps in that direction, little steps in getting closer to that, even setting yourself up so that you do have, say, someone to talk to after, someone you trust to talk to after you start getting at to the root of what has truly made you feel orphaned or unloved or alone or isolated here. But you may need uh, some support at this time. So I would certainly reach out to someone that you trust. An individual that has been there for you in the past would be a good person right now, seeing him who's non-judgmental and maybe even supportive in a way where they've been where you are now in a similar position, but they've gotten themselves out, even if you don't know them very well. Or it could be someone that you see online who's gone through something that you can trust their opinion and guidance on. Regardless of who you're getting it from, just make sure that you have support this week while you're going through this um, discovery, while you're getting to the bottom of something here, just because it's going to make it a little bit more soft for you once you do come out the other side, right? You don't need to suffer in silence. So yeah, here, this is really about, there's an opportunity this week to make room for something new, that is greater and better for you, that serves you, and to kick out what isn't serving you anymore. In the energy you're bringing into the week is the Y card. Its keyword is motivation. What motivates you to do certain things, say, believe, think, etc. These are large scale motivation questions. Um, you could even be asking this week, why does this keep happening? Why am I still here? Why can't I let go? Interesting to see this. And with regard to the full moon coming up in Virgo in the next couple of weeks, I was just listening to a motivation tape. I've been brushing off this guy named Tony Robbins my whole life. I started listening to him because I actually think he's kind of smart when it comes to getting over yourself, getting over issues, focusing on things that work for you. And basically, he was speaking today about asking the right questions in order to better serve ourselves. We can ask, why does this always happen? But with the same breath and in the same amount of time, we can ask, what can I learn from this? We can say, why am I hurting right now? Or we can say, what is funny about this? It's the same breath, it's the same amount of time, it's the same language. It's just, what are we focusing on and what are we hoping to get at the end of it? So, really large scale motivation questions here. Maybe switch up what you're asking, Virgo, and you'll definitely come up with a different answer and solutions, as opposed to I belong here, or solutions as opposed to the problem itself. What is working for you is a new life. Like I said, this is available to you. This is accomplishable. Is that a word? I hope so. This is easy to accomplish for you. That you have already done something that's given you new life, that has made you feel accomplished, was a success, etc. So you know what to do. You know how it feels. You know that this is available to you and you can keep rising. I think this is sort of a deep sort of wound here, the orphaned, in terms of what you may not be aware of. I think this is dogging you, this is haunting you, and it needn't be, um, because it is taking up room that you need to make new room for. So maybe that's all that's going on here. You've had phenomenal success over the past 2 months as far as the cards are concerned here for you, Virgo, with regard to developmental growth, spiritual growth, psychological, and even physical health. You've really been raising the bar for yourself, and for society in general, so thank you. But there is something deep here, and I'm really not surprised to see this in your reading, frankly, with, like I said, with the full moon in Virgo coming up. This is going to draw up some of the deepest wounds or issues that we have. So I think it's a really good time this week, and possibly even until the end of the month. So maybe try to spend the next 3 weeks on it, and convince yourself that it's smart, and now is the time to get to the bottom of it, because you can release it all now. Now is the time that you can release this all, because you're the probable outcome card is never ending story, and this is simply what love is to you, how you love yourself, not vanity, not arrogance, but true love. Like, when you consider yourself as a child, say 5, 6, or 7 years old, I'm talking about that person, loving that person, that little kid, right? Who, like, we all have family, we all have outside influences around us, we all have these traumas. But if there was something you could say to that person, that little person now, what would you say? And I think that's going to flip the switch. That's going to flip the script for you, Virgo. But it is going to take getting to the source, looking at yourself in the mirror with regard to this subject, and really understanding what it means to love that person. And it could even be a measure of forgiveness is necessary during this process. It could be about other people. Obviously, we're hurt by other people, but it could be about letting ourselves forgive ourselves as well, for not doing it sooner, for not knowing what we know now, etc. We can be so unreasonably hard on ourselves. So I think this is a really nice opportunity for you to remember what works for you. How have you in the past gotten yourself out of something difficult, and take that route. Trust that that works for you, and don't reinvent the wheel at this time. Just use what already works for you, and take good advice from other people who've been through something similar and who've gotten themselves out of something and into a place in their lives where you want to be, where you consider positive or happy, etc., if that's what you truly want. So with the chop wood card, like I said, in your central position, this is really just, you can see the broom here, but there's some golden colors in the back. There's a golden opportunity that awaits getting rid of something that isn't working for you in order to make room for something that does. And there is an element of movement here as well. Sometimes if we get stuck or in a mental or psychological rut, we find that very readily the same thing happens to our bodies. We're in a physical rut too. So there could even be a measure of just becoming active here. I'm not talking about exercise or doing something boring necessarily, but I am talking about getting up and moving something around, moving your body in a way that you don't normally, stretching yourself, so to speak, stretching your mind, your positive emotions, and your body here will create a really nice outcome over a period of time. The Y card, again, these are large scale questions around motivation. What is motivating you to a certain thing? What is motivating you toward a certain belief system, toward a group of people, toward a thought process, toward anything in life that you pay attention to? Even in terms of, like I said, very simply, what motivates you to ask, why are you stuck, as opposed to, how do I get out? See what I mean? If you just switch up the questions a little bit, because my attitude about the questions, that any individual, I don't care how old you are, where you are in the world, if you can formulate a question, I believe firmly you already have the answer. I really believe that. If you can get to the point where you can ask yourself a deliberate question with deliberate meaning, you already have the answer. Do you need to focus on it and take yourself to task and beat yourself up about it? Absolutely not. Sometimes even asking that great question that you're like, okay, this is solution orientated, and then walk away from it for an hour, or leave it alone for a day and then come back to it fresh and contemplate it again or consider it again, and you might find that things just sort of pop up or show up or become available to you, like I said, that conversation that just appears out of nowhere, or um, that person who can help you, that you look up to for whatever reason. uh, because here we have in what's working for you, you've already done this, right? You've already created solutions for your life. You've already gotten out of bad feelings, a bad situation, bad relationship, bad thought processes, etc. So this is available to you. So I think by and large, the lesson here in terms of the whole reading as a snapshot is focus. In terms of, let's focus on what works for you and how do you get yourself out of a difficult position, because uh, sort of what you may not understand is working here, or um, what is a driving motivator that you might not be aware of is the feeling of being orphaned. Like I said, this is extremely deep-seated. This is old energy. If it's something that did just happen last week, it could feel that it's deep. That's all I mean by old. Like it's a deep wound or it's an old wound. It's something that needs to be addressed, but it could be perceived as well. This could be perceived orphanage. This could be perceived lack, perceived denial, perceived neglect, right? If it is true and real and uh, tangible in the material world, then we need to look at why this is still troubling you. If it is a psychological or an emotional issue, it's probably an older issue, right? And then we have to look at, first of all, who was involved, what happened to them, and I think a level of forgiveness is going to be necessary here, because what allows someone to treat someone else in a hurtful way, 9 times out of 10, Virgo, it's because they were hurt themselves. It's a crappy situation for all people involved, and it doesn't negate what they did. It doesn't. You don't have to forgive the act, okay? Or anything that was negative or done to you, that was done against your will, etc. But it is important to get to the place where you can forgive yourself and the other person. You don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to be friends with them if that's not what you want. But the forgiveness portion is healing. So this could be a measure of where you need to go next. And when I say heavy, I just mean a sense of like, it's going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take a little bit of effort, because nobody wants to keep going around in a never-ending story, particularly if you feel alone. Look at these two individuals. They're curled up with themselves. They're feeling alone. They could even be feeling abandoned, that no one understands them. That's a mirage. That's a mirage, Virgo. Trust me, somebody out there understands you. Trust me, somebody has been where you are and they've gotten themselves out. If you want to get out, you can. I know you can. This is an issue of self-love. Like I said, this is a really important time to get to the core of who was hurt. Even if it was something that happened last week, wow. It's deep, right? So we need to get to the core of how to get out, how to, in terms of why did this happen to me? Again, I'm not trying to be repetitive, but switch your questions up. Okay, I'll leave it at that. We have the opossum. Its key word is diversion. I understand it. Listen, it's human nature. We don't want to get raw. We don't want to get dirty. We don't want to get, well, I don't. Maybe you're braver than me. We don't want to look at old hurts. We don't want to look at why something felt dark, why something felt bad, why we were orphaned or felt alone. You know, what did we do to deserve this type thing? But again, that question doesn't belong here anymore, because that's old. It's old vibrational energy. The question now is, what can I do to get myself out? What can I do to fix this? Is there something funny in this? Is there something I can help other people with when I get myself out? I don't know why every time I read Virgos, it touches my heart, because you're a really deep person. I know you are. And I've said this from the start, I just don't think you get the credit you deserve for being a really deep person. And you're a healer. You're a healer, Virgo. And the world needs you so bad. So if you can figure it out, if you can get to the place where you can trust that you have what it takes and you can figure it out, then I implore you to do it. Find solutions this week, okay? So we're just looking for that one little additional card here to polish off this reading for you. All right, look at this. Miracles. My dear Virgo, this is what it's about. I really think this is what it's about. You know, the Catholic Church has a whole litany of things that they have to put through. I think it's ridiculous. It's like 300 pages of tests that the Catholic Church has to put a miracle through in order to consider it a miracle, okay? And same with saints. They have to pass all sorts of man-made tests. Are you a saint? Aren't you a saint? Is this a miracle? Let me tell you, it's all for naught. It's ridiculous, because you know what a miracle is? Breath, breathing, forgiveness, nature, life. Every moment is a miracle. Every moment has a space for healing and for beauty. I encourage you to get someone you trust or feel you're supported this week, okay, Virgo? Because I know you can get out of this, and I know you can kick it to the curb for good. So forgive me for going way over 20 minutes. If you have a second, let me know how this works out for you. I'm genuinely curious. And if you're not already, subscribe to my channel. I upload videos for your sign every single week. Until we meet next time, Virgo, take good care. I'll see you then. Bye for now.